Good morning, grandkids. It's time for another chapter of the mystery that I'm reading, The Phantom in the Woods. This is chapter 3, and it isn't very long. Others was longer, and I think my next one is really long. But this one isn't going to be very long. The next morning, Tucker comes inside after doing a few chores and finds his mom in the living room stoking up the fire in the fireplace. Hey, Mom, okay if I make a couple of sandwiches? I need to go into the village and will probably be a while. Thought I'd sit out in the park and eat lunch. Sure, Mom said. Be sure to wear something warm. The man on the radio said the temperature is going to be dropping today. I will, Mom. And I went on into the kitchen. I saw Dad come into the living room and kiss Mom and stretch his hands out toward the fire. It was getting colder already. I looked over at Champ sitting at the table, coloring a picture. Hey, Champ, if you go out to play, bundle up good. It's turning cold. Yeah, Mom already told me that, he said as he pressed down too hard and his crayon broke. Shit. He almost yelled, then looked toward the living room as Mom said, I heard that, Champ. Sorry, he replied, as I laughed and went on out to the garage. I fastened a tool belt around my hips and put my axe in one of the loops and a flashlight in another loop. I took an old beat-up backpack off of a peg and put my sandwiches in it, along with a small, old, tattered blanket. I then headed down the path to the river road. I never knew why it was called that. It was only a slow-moving creek. I turned right once I was on the road and headed toward the village. I soon came to two friends of mine down by the creek fishing. I called out to them, Hi, guys. You catching anything? Nah, just an excuse to hang out and get away from chores. We all laughed, and I asked Jeff, my other buddy there, if his dad, Mr. Dell, was up and about. Yep, he should be out in the garage. I saw him working on something when I was headed down here. I looked back over to James and said, Well, I hope you catch something good to eat. James was the son of the Potters who lived on the other side of the creek, several fields up from old Mr. Forrester. Tucker walks on a little ways and decides to walk up the path to Dell's farm and see if Mr. Dell is still in his garage. Hi, Mr. Dell, I said. Looks like you got another busy day. Yeah, he grunted. Always something to do, there is. He looked up with a quick grin. What you got going on today? Nothing much. Just walking to the village for a few things. Anything I could pick up for you while I'm there? Nah, don't think so. Come here and hold this plank for me while I stick a couple of nails in it. The stupid pig I was hauling the other day decided to kick a slat out of the side of it. I walked over to help and said, Oh, Dad's coming over today with some wood and a roll of wire to work on that falling down place in your fence. Oh, good, he said. Finally, I started talking about what I actually had stopped for. Mr. Dell, I wanted to talk to you about something. He glanced up at me and I kept on going. I was up in the woods with Dad yesterday, chopping wood, and weird things was happening. I remembered hearing you say a little about something in the woods, and Mr. Streets at the gas station had said something. I wanted to talk with you about it, if you don't mind. He straightened up and looked at me a minute, then said, "Okay. Got 2 folding chairs over here. Let's go rest a bit." And we walked over, and he grabbed 2 Cokes out of a cooler and handed me one as we sat down. "Now, what's this all about? And what do you want to know?" I started telling Mr. Dell about yesterday in the woods. Leaves would move, but only in one spot, nothing around it. This happened 2 or 3 times. Then, once they moved above, and there was a shimmering something. Then, whatever it was, started messing with my hair. That hair that was hanging below my cap in the back. I was ready to run back home. Even my dog, Razor, was acting funny, and finally he did race home, after staring up the trail into the woods. I'd like to know what you may have seen or heard, if you wouldn't mind talking about it. Mr. Dell waited a bit, getting his thoughts together. Finally, he took a swig of his Coke, crossed a leg over his knee, and looked at me. "Well, what little you heard about was when Dan Streets and I were standing outside his gas station, and the subject came up. Whatever I say, you can talk to your dad about, but I wouldn't want anything to get back to my wife. Oh, Dad and I have said something to my mom, but not to anyone outside of the house, not even in front of my little brother," I said. "Okay," he said. "I was up in the woods twice while using that trail going up from behind your place. One of those times, Dan was with me. Yeah, we experienced some weird things. Haven't either one of us ventured up that trail since then." He stopped, thinking a bit, then went on. "We had the same experience you did, with the leaves moving in only one spot, then another place. We never saw anything else, and nothing ever touched us at all. But it was too weird watching that. Like 2 feet were moving in the leaves in one spot. It raised the hairs on the back of my neck, I'm telling you. I saw Dan turn a little white, so I said to him that we needed to get on back, not be talking about it to anyone. He agreed, and we left. Haven't been back either." "Wow," I said. After a bit, I said, "I'm going to tell you what I'm planning, but don't tell anyone. I just need someone to know, in case, well, just in case. I don't want my family to know unless anything goes wrong. So, since you know about this already, I want you to have my back, okay?" "Okay. What's going on in that head of yours?" Owen asked. "I'm going to be up there today and build a small brush arbor, just a little nest to hide in, to just watch and see what happens. After my parents are asleep, I'll slip out tonight and go up there and just see." "Okay," he said. "I'll keep my lips zipped, but you let me know what goes, if anything, okay?" I will, I assured him, "whether anything happens or not." We shook hands, and he said, "You be careful, Tucker." I went back down the path all along the field and turned on the path toward the village, thinking about what to buy and stuff into my old backpack that I might want tonight up in the woods. Right now, I'm going to stop and see my girlfriend," he grinned. So that's all of that. chapter for today. And tomorrow's chapter is going to be longer. So I will see you all then, grandkids. Bye-bye.